He's the only actor in history to have made 6 consecutive movies to have grossed over $100 million each. He's one of Hollywood's wealthiest stars, and it's a true rags to absolute riches tale. Tom Cruise didn't have the easiest childhood. His father had a heavy-handed approach to discipline, and after he left the family, he refused to pay child support, leaving them living in near poverty. On top of that, he lacked stability, attending 15 schools in 12 years. But clearly, he's used that adversity to his advantage. Originally, his career dream was to become a Catholic priest. However, he got the acting bug after he scored the lead role in a high school production of Guys and Dolls. A knee injury had sidelined him from the sporting arena, so he tried his hand at theatre and finally found his calling.
You can't just back off and fade away. You have to be right there and alive and constantly challenging yourself on a physical, emotional level. And I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Risky Business was the film that propelled Tom Cruise to stardom. Before that, he'd made his film debut with Endless Love and worked alongside Sean Penn in Taps. But it was his role as a teenager in the hands of temptation after his parents go away for the weekend that really put him on the map. Risky Business is also the reason we have to put up with blokes turning up at 80s parties dressed only in a white shirt and a pair of Reg Grundys. The hits came quickly. A couple of years later, Tom Cruise starred as Maverick in Top Gun, a movie with a killer soundtrack that made just about every male that watched it want to become an Air Force pilot. Even back then, Tom had success and longevity of his career on his mind.
There's a feeling of, okay, I'm this young actor. I felt this, and I thought, I just want to act, I want to make movies. And all of a sudden, all the scripts were coming in, it was Risky Business. And I thought, I have to protect my talent here because I know I want to grow, I have to develop. And I don't want to burn out. And all of a sudden, 7 years from now, I don't have the opportunities anymore.
The offers and hits just kept rolling in, with films like Colour of Money and Cocktail, alongside our very own Brian Brown. You think of The Art of Cocktail Making, and you think of that famous scene with the two of them behind the bar flaring to the cheers of the crowd. But Tom was serious about getting the character right.
I mean, I interviewed about 35 different bartenders to try to find something, what do they all have in common? What separates the great bartenders, which there are star bartenders. And there's a psychology in working with the customer. And you're not just a bartender, you're an extractor. You want to get the money out of their pocket into your pocket. That's the name of the game. It's all about money. Money and sex.
Then came Rain Man. Cruise showed that he could hold his own alongside Hollywood great Dustin Hoffman. On set, the pair learnt from each other.
He would say to me, now what'd you do when they do this? What do you do when they do that? What do you do when they run up and they want autographs and if you sign? I mean, he's had his own experience. I did The Graduate when I was almost 30 years old. He's only 26 years old. He's been, I think, a star since he's 18, so he doesn't, and he's also worked with Paul Newman, he's worked with some big stars. But every once in a while he would ask me what I did. But he did things that I never thought of doing, which were quite lovely. And I could take lessons from him. If we don't watch out, he may run for president someday.
Yeah, luckily he hasn't run for president just yet. But the hits continue to come thick and fast. Next, he starred in Born on the 4th of July, then Days of Thunder, alongside Nicole Kidman. On set, the two fell in love, and later that same year they married. Then, 2 years later, they were back on screen together again in Far and Away.
Anything that I can share creatively with, person that I love and enjoy being around, to be able to share that is, that's what we love. We're actors, and when you're making a film, you work, 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, and even when I'm not shooting a film, I work every day, working on trying to get projects for the next one, or doing research. So, you better have someone that really understands that, and even better to be able to share it with, and someone that you have a tremendous amount of respect for. So I think it's a wonderful thing.
And Tom's had wonderful things with quite a few ladies. First, there was his marriage to Mimi Rogers, who was actually the person that introduced him to Scientology. They divorced in February of 1990. In December that same year, he married Nicole. They separated just shy of their 10-year wedding anniversary. Then, of course, was that romance with Penelope Cruz, and now he's married to Katie Holmes. And you could say he's also married to his career. A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with the Vampire, and Mission Impossible were all made back to back.
I love what I do. I love showing up on the set and working with the writers and the directors and the other actors. And there's a thrill and an exhilaration of working, you know, an 18-hour day and knowing you've done good work and you feel very proud of yourself for that. And it's not something that's ever, I never feel I can feel a sense of completion on that particular project.
The hard-working actor then played a hard-working sports agent in Jerry Maguire. The film was a huge success, but it wasn't one that Tom felt all that confident about.
Making the movie was an exceptional, extraordinary experience for me. But I really didn't think that, you know, I didn't know how much what would happen with the movie. I never know, but early on we were having a very difficult time trying to sell the movie. You just could, you know, the movie's not about sports. It's not about, what is this picture about, and how do we communicate the idea of that to an audience? And so that was incredibly nerve-wracking and challenging for a time.
In the 90s, he branched out into producing. His first movie was the action blockbuster Mission Impossible, which he also starred in.
I've been really working towards that my whole career. Just because I think when you love something so much as I do, you wonder, you know, how far can I take it? How far can I go?
Right.
Yeah, because I enjoy it so much, and I did enjoy that very much.
He also produced the second in the series, and the third. And the fourth instalment is on the way. Maybe it's because he works so hard that he doesn't mind mixing his personal and private lives. He worked as an executive producer for The Others, starring his then-wife, Nicole Kidman. 2 years earlier, they starred alongside each other in Stanley Kubrick's psychological drama, Eyes Wide Shut, a film that took an epic 2 years to finish. So Tom finally got the chance to work with Kubrick. Another of the greats he hadn't yet worked with was Steven Spielberg. That was until Minority Report. In 2002, Cruise finally got his wish.
What Tom responds to are good ideas. He loves a good idea. He loves an idea that isn't quite in the screenplay, but you make it up on the day. He just really responds to that because he's got all his lines memorized, but if you throw a new idea at him that he didn't have a chance to prepare, he gets so excited by that because it just, suddenly he sees all these other layers being offered him, being offered his character. So Tom absolutely got to the point where I'd give him a couple ideas and maybe 4 or 5 days would go by where I wouldn't have any new ideas, and Tom would say, come on, more new ideas, let's go. Because if you don't have some, I got about 20 of them. Because Tom was always coming up with new stuff about his character.
So successful was the Spielberg-Cruise union that they partnered up again for War of the Worlds. But leading up to the release of the film, Tom's bad press began. He became very public about his devotion to Scientology. He sacked his old publicist and hired his sister, another devout Scientologist, in her place. He publicly criticised Brooke Shields for using antidepressants to get through postnatal depression, saying there's no such thing as a chemical imbalance, and at the same time wrote off the entire field of psychiatry. And who could forget that famous Oprah couch incident? In 2005, he jumped up and down on Oprah's couch while professing his love for Katie Holmes. The incident took on a life of its own, becoming fodder for late-night talk shows, as well as being parodied by Family Guy and Scary Movie 4. Things went from bad to worse for Cruise when the culmination of his bad press forced Paramount to end their 14-year relationship with his production company. Like him or loathe him, the tabloids are fascinated by him. Nicknamed Tomcat, his relationship with Katie Holmes is constantly in the headlines, and their daughter Suri is in them just as much. I mean, Suri being photographed in high heels was one of the biggest stories of the year. These days, it seems he's rebuilding his career and has moved on from that tumultuous period of his life that saw him shunned by many of his loyal fans.
You know, when you're making movies, it's day to day. You know, because it's problem solving. It's the ability to allow yourself to make mistakes and then be able to adjust to those mistakes, and it's a constant learning process, and you always learn something about yourself and about other people, and it is a group effort, and it's very challenging.
In 2005, a respected Hollywood economist described Tom Cruise as one of the richest and most powerful forces in Hollywood. He described him as one of the only people able to guarantee the success of a billion-dollar movie franchise. Sure, he may have lost a few fans along the way with his personal views, but there's no denying his figures at the box office. Stay tuned to Star Picks for all the movies you know and the actors you love, broadcast in glorious high definition with 5.1 surround sound where available. For more of the best in entertainment news, check out Your Movie Network channels. It's altogether better, on screen and at mnc.tv.